Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for joining our Progression to Further Learning and Work webinar. My name's Alex, and as you've heard from the start, Francis is also on the line with me. Both Francis and I are the regional sales managers here at Ascensis. So thanks everyone for signing up and for coming on the webinar. Just as a bit of housekeeping, you'll notice that we have muted all of your microphones. That's just to avoid any excess background noise as we go through the webinar. We'll be spending about the next 30 minutes or so talking through our Progression to Further Learning and Work qualifications. And if you do have any questions, please do pop them in the chat box, and either Francis or I will answer those as we go along. We'll then stay on the line at the end as well for a couple of minutes, just in case there are any additional questions we haven't seen or haven't answered as we've gone along. Okay, so moving on to an agenda. And so as I say, going to be about 30 minutes. We'll just do a brief introduction to Ascensis, about who we are. We'll go through the benefits. I'll go through the benefits of our progression qualifications. Francis and I will both do a bit on the qualification breakdown. And then Francis will talk you through some of the resources that we have to help with these qualifications. So who are Ascensis? I can see that there are quite a few of our customers already on, but I can also see there are a few that don't use Ascensis at this moment in time. So just as a bit of background, so we've been around quite a while. We've been around since 1975, and up until about 12 years ago, we were known as the Open College Northwest. So if you have used Open College Northwest, you were actually using, in the past, you're actually using Ascensis. We're both an awarding organisation and an access validating agency. And in fact, we are the largest access validating agency in the UK. We're regulated by Ofqual, the CCEA in Northern Ireland, and Qualification Wales. We are eligible for funding under the ESFA, and what you may not know about Ascensis is that we are a registered educational charity. It's really at the heart of what we do is our qualifications, and you know, one of our ethos and mantras is that we look to change people's lives through our qualifications, and we do that through our charitable work. We do offer a wide portfolio of qualifications, so we offer in excess of 400. And of course, we'll talk to you about the Progression to Further Learning and Work suite throughout this webinar. So in terms of the benefits of using Ascensis for your Progression to Further Learning and Work qualifications, they're all portfolio-based assessments. So it means that there's no stress of exams, etc. You can use these qualifications as portfolio. We also offer unit certification as well. So if there are just certain units that benefit your learner and your learners, and perhaps they wouldn't want to do the full qualifications, we do offer unit certification. We provide tracking sheets for units, so obviously that helps with the portfolio assessment, and we do provide a summary record of achievement as well. All of our progression qualifications, sorry about that, are funded, and they're funded through local flexibility. And we offer enrolment and registration all year round. So there are no registration windows, so you can register as and when the learners are ready. And we have no minimum registrations too. So whether you've got 10 learners, 100 learners, 1,000 learners, we can accommodate for that. We do have mandatory units within some of the qualification areas. However, we do have a large range of optional units as well. So this really helps you customize the learning experience for your learners. So they're doing units which are relevant to them, their needs and their circumstances as well. So you can really make sure that it's a really tailored qualification for your students and really useful for them. There's a wide scope of learning available, so they're very flexible qualifications. So you can do outdoor learning, classroom learning, community learning, and much more as well. And then obviously the progressive qualifications. So from these, learners can go on to further study or as a route into paid employment. So moving on to the qualification overviews. So we have an independent living qualification. Now, this is available at entry 3 and level 1. So it's been designed to address the needs of entry-level learners in effect, and it's particularly used often by those who are studying ESOL. So they might have moved to the country. They're not used to living on their own, living independently. It's a good qualification to run alongside our English for speakers of other languages. As you would expect from the title, it helps learners to gain skills to live more independently, and it makes sure that all of the learners have opportunities to access relevant and appropriate education and improve their life chances. I'll say again, but as you'll see with a lot of these qualifications, they're offered as blended learning and or classroom-based courses, and we do provide that summary of achievement as well. So in terms of the next qualification I'll talk to you about, so identity and belonging in modern Britain. Again, entry level 3 and level 1. And so what's this qualification? What's the basis for this qualification? Well, we really want learners to explore their identities and understand their own sense of belonging, to operate independently and effectively in every part of work or education and effectively life in modern Britain. So again, this might be something to run with your ESOL learners as well. But it's a really good qualification, lovely qualification, really helpful for the learners. We do offer verification and certification throughout the year, as mentioned, so that's maximum flexibility. Whenever you get your learners in, you can register them with a census, so you don't have to register a large number at the start of the year. You can just register them as and when. And then we have that indicative content and summary record of achievement as well. So the next qualification I want to talk about is the character education. Again, this is actually a really good qualification. It's entry 3 and level 1. So it's designed for learners who would benefit from reflection and adaptation of their own behaviour, to help them obviously establish themselves in a modern society. So it's a really lovely qualification, really helpful qualification, can really change people's outlook as well. So the qualifications can be adapted to the learner's own needs, so you can choose a specific unit on topics that are relevant to them personally. So if there are areas of their character that they specifically want to work on, there should be units there that would be relevant to them personally, and not just a random course that's sent to them. Again, blended learning or classroom based, and we provide indicative content and summary record of achievement. However, for this qualification, we do also have a tutor PowerPoint and learner workbooks available at the mandatory unit, and that's at both levels, at entry 1 and entry 3, and level 1. So we then have an entry 3 qualification. Now, again, this is a qualification that I think is really good for your induction programs. So it's an induction to a learning environment. So it's only 10 guided learning hours. It's just one single unit. But it's designed to provide learners with the essential information and skills needed when starting in a learning environment. So if you've got learners that have been out of education for a long time, you've had to come into a different style of education. Essentially, they're just not used to that learning environment. It's a really nice short qualification to induction to a learning environment. Again, classroom-based or blended learning. And we have a learner workbook as well that the learners can use on their own as an independent learning aid that covers all of the assessment criteria. And of course, we have full tutor resources as well, which will help you deliver this particular qualification. But a really good short qualification to use along in your induction programs, I would say. And lastly from me, and I'll hand over to Francis in a moment, but we have a level 1 introduction to health and social care. So this is to help the learner decide whether working in the sector is the right choice for them. So health and social care, I think it requires a certain type of person, certain level of person to be able to do that sort of job. So this is what the aim of this qualification is, to make sure that the sector's the right thing for them. Again, I keep saying it, but blended learning is available as well as classroom-based. And the evidence that's generated as part of the portfolio qualification, it's in a wide range of contexts. So it means that you can meet the specific occupational requirements that the learners have. The learners can then progress onto an extensive range of level 1 and level 2 qualifications in early years in health and social care. So if they take this course, they decide it is something for them, it is something they want to do, there are further qualifications available to help that. And again, we provide that indicative content for them. So thank you all for listening to me. I can see a couple of questions that Francis has answered, so thanks for that. And I will hand over to Francis.
Thank you very much, Alex. So on to the personal development qualification of the progression suite. So this is available at entry 3 and also at the level 1. It has been designed to give learners the skills to live independently by providing them with the knowledge to make informed decisions on issues that affect their lives. So again, it is great for ESOL learners, also maybe SEND learners who are now moving out of their home, maybe, and also people that are moving out of their parents' house and haven't really lived by themselves yet and want to learn those life skills. A flexible optional unit structure is available for this qualification, which allows learners and tutors to choose learning that is relevant to their specific needs. The qualifications also enable learners to combine units with units at a higher level, promoting learner progression. So obviously, if they're on the entry 3, you can have a mix of those units from that level 1 as well. Some of the themes of this qualification include developing self, dealing with problems in daily life, and managing own money. A qualification that I would love to have been able to have taken at a young age as well. I think that's something that really should be taught, how to manage your money. So on to personal health and relationship. Again, this is available at entry 3 to level 1. It offers learners the opportunity to explore a wide range of different subject areas associated with health and relationships, discover the associated skills, attributes, and risks and benefits that enable these to be successful and rewarding. This qualification can be delivered either as a classroom-based course or as a blended learning program, so there is the option there. Evidence can be generated within a wide range of organisational contexts, which allows the qualification to meet the specific occupational requirements of the learner. The themes here include substance awareness for the individual, sex and relationships, and personal relationships as well. We then move on to the entry 3 to level 2 qualification. So this goes for skills towards enabling progression and also as the step up to progression as well. So these are 2 different qualifications, but do have many similar traits to them. So these qualifications teach young people and adults that need support to overcome barriers which are preventing them from achieving what they want in life and work. The qualifications offer a flexible and broad range of subjects which can be tailored to the needs of the learner for them to learn new skills and knowledge. We do provide a unit booklet here and a summary record of achievement. There is flexibility of units that means you can tailor to the needs and motivation of the learners. So the step up is aimed at learners that are 14 and above, and the progression qualification is for 16 and above. The importance of resilience and grit. This is available from entry 3 to level 1. This is a very popular qualification in the progression suite. We do have a lot of centres that run this. You can obviously, as Alex mentioned, induction programs. This can also be part of an induction program because of the single unit of 20 guided learning hours. It's a 1 unit qualification, and it introduces learners to what is meant by the terms resilience and grit and how they can be used to support own behaviour and character. Again, this can be delivered as a classroom-based course or as a blended learning, and we do provide tutor resources and learning workbooks. But like I say, because of the low guided learning hours and because of the nature of that qualification, it is perfect for your induction courses. Finally, in the progression suite, we have skills for life and work. So these are a mix of qualifications that go from entry 1 all the way up to the level 1. And they come in different areas. So we have the life skills, animal care and garden horticultural, managing transition, supporting a child's learning and development, tenancy skills, warehouse and storage. So these are a great introductory qualifications to different key areas. So the life skill, for example, the aims here is to promote independent living skills and confidence in the learners, reward achievements of learners for the skills they've developed, and to help them progress towards a literacy, numeracy, ICT, or a vocational qualification. So it's a great introduction for your learners. The animal care and garden horticultural, the aims of these qualifications are to gain skills, knowledge, and understanding of the principles of animal care and garden horticultural, to provide the opportunity to progress to further education or employment in animal care, or obviously in the garden, and to develop personal employment skills in a wide range of contexts, and to gain experience in a variety of specialist areas as well. So that's obviously really designed for those learners that are interested in those topics. Then we have the managing transitions, where your learners will learn to adapt to new environments, cope with change, and to develop themselves. So again, it's really that's a really great qualification for some of your, maybe your teenage learners, maybe 16, 17, where they are trying to deal with a lot of different environments, that they are coming to see a lot of change. Their life's changing, they're coming towards the end of maybe their mandatory education sector. They're looking to see whether they want to progress on to further education, if they want to go into a career. So that's obviously a lovely one for that. To supporting a child's learning and development. So obviously this is to increase awareness of the range of opportunities both within formal and informal learning to support a child's learning development, to promote the value of learning within a family unit, to identify their own future learning and development needs, and to encourage the learner to progress to employment or further learning opportunities. So obviously these are really aimed at those learners that are interested in maybe going into like a child development or learning role. So if they're interested in progressing to a childcare career, this is obviously for them. And if they're interested in maybe going off to university and studying that as well, it's a great link. Tenancy skills. These are the qualifications where learners can gain information about easy access to private rented accommodation and to understand their rights and responsibilities as tenants. So obviously, again, 16, 17, 18, they're looking at what's next in their life. They may be looking at moving out of their parents' home or the family home that they're in, wanting to move out on their own. I think we can all remember back in those days where it seemed like it was in a rush to move out, weren't we? But we never knew. You don't really know what your rights are, and it's all a bit of a whirlwind. So this course can really help them gain those skills about what their rights are for renting property. And finally, the warehouse and storage. The aims of this qualification is to guide and assess the development of learners' knowledge and skills to a level required by employers in the warehouse and storage industry. It promotes the gaining of work-related skills within this industry and prepares learners for further training. So again, if you have learners that are interested in a career, possibly going into the supermarkets, working in the warehouses in the supermarkets, or many different opportunities in that career progression, this is obviously a great qualification for them to get their insight into. And then obviously we'll move on to the resources now. So I want to show you, obviously we've been talking about the learner PowerPoints, the tutor PowerPoints that we give, and I have an example of one here. So this is the Entry 3 and Level 1 award in the importance of resilience and grit PowerPoint. So this is what we send out to tutors once you become a progression centre with us. So it has the breakdown of the importance of resilience. It breaks it down into the Entry 3 to Level 1. It gives out tasks for your learners. So in groups, find out what resilience means and discuss your findings. It then moves on with the answers of what the meaning of resilience is, examples of resilience, importance, and then again more tasks. So it really is there to help obviously the tutors. It's obviously great for the lesson planning. All the examples are here for them, the work that your students would need to do for this qualification is here for them. So that is what we provide. for a lot of the progression qualifications. As you can see, it's 24 pages, so there's a lot of information, a lot of different tasks that you can choose. Obviously, you don't have to use them all, but they are there for you to pick and choose and see what works best for you. Then if we go on to the Ascentus website, where a lot of our resources are, so just I'll give you a quick tour of the website. So some of you I know haven't used it so often. I can see some of you aren't Ascentus customers. So the Ascentus website really is where you can find all the information. So obviously, as Alex said, we have 400 qualifications. This is where you can find them all. We've categorized them for you. So obviously, all the progression that we're talking about is here. We also have our ESOL provision, English and Maths, and our Essential Digital Skills qualification. So these are obviously, these qualifications, by the way, are perfect to link into progression to further learning and work. A lot of people do choose to run the progression alongside other courses, and these really are perfect pairing courses, as well as our employability and work skills. We also have our access to HE, Alex mentioned, the largest ABA for access, and all information of access is there. Then we have the resources section, which I'll show you in a minute. The events tab up here, so that's where you can find all upcoming webinars and events that Ascentus are holding. And then the join us page. So if you're not an approved centre at the minute, but you're looking at becoming one, then this is the page here for you. So you can download the qualification product catalogue and the centre recognition forms here, fill them in, and obviously you will then be able to become an approved centre. If you are already a centre and you want to maybe add on progression if you don't already run it, you can download the application form here. It is worth noting that if you are an approved centre already and you're looking at adding on more qualifications, that you don't have to pay any additional fees for that. You can just add them on. So on to some of our progression resources. So here is a copy of the summary record of achievement. This is obviously provided at the end of the specifications. It's there for the assessor to sign, the learner to fill in. So the learner can fill in for the unit titles. And then you can obviously then help with the record of achievement and get that marked. And there's a place there if it has been selected as the sample for the internal verifier as well. So this is on the bottom of the spec. So as you can see, we've provided them for all of the units. So this one is for the entry-level award in independent living in the entry 2, and it's there for you. And like I say, it's at the bottom of the spec where you can find all the information. We then have some of the indicative content that we were talking about. So again, these are in the specifications, and the indicative content is here at the bottom. Again, it's on the bottom of the units. So as you can see, this is an induction to a learning environment, where it says what the learners will be seeing. And here is the indicative content for your tutors to be able to help them with their lesson plans and what your learners will be needing to achieve throughout. We also have the tracking sheet here. So again, that's provided at the bottom of the specifications. It's broken down into those units. As you can see, again, you can mark where the assessment method is, the evidence details, and the portfolio reference. Because obviously, as these are portfolio qualifications, this is here to make that portfolio assessment easier. And finally, we have the unit booklets that we talked about. So these documents need to be matched with the specifications. So this one is for the progression and the step up qualifications. So don't worry, I won't go through all 63, oh no, even further, all 100 odd pages. But as you can see, it's a massive document. It breaks down the unit specifications in full detail. It breaks down every single unit within that suite for the assessment criteria and the learning outcomes. It's there for you to be able to look at what you need for your tutors and your lesson planning. And all of that gets given to you once you become an approved Ascentus customer. So I go back. I know Alex has been answering questions as I've been talking. So all that's left for me is to say thank you so much. If you do have any further questions for us, please do feel free to pop them in the chat. Alex and I will stay on longer after this webinar. Our contact details are here, and as Alex mentioned at the beginning, we are sending this recording and the slides out to everybody as well. So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found it interesting and informative. And if you do want to pick up with Alex and I separately, then please do so.